Chapter 7, Set Up a Target. I find humor in saying, don't just sit there, do something. And truth in the adage, I don't know where we're going, but we're getting there fast. I've been a serious meditation teacher for 45 years. Sometimes I feel burdened by it, thinking I should have accomplished something by now, like glowing from the inside out or being able to walk on water. But truthfully, as a part of the first generation of meditators in America, I feel I've wasted a lot of time. I believe that's inevitable for pioneers. You go down a lot of dead-end canyons and have to backtrack. I wrote this book as a travel guide, so you don't have to go down all those dead ends I did. Of course, experiencing the gift of life is a very personal and revealing journey. So I highly recommend doing a periodic spiritual spring cleaning to take inventory of what you have taken from the authority of ancient teachings or from those who have gone before you. What is actually working for you? Then clean out what doesn't fit anymore. I quit teaching for a year and started asking the questions that got me started on the journey in the first place. What is life about? What do I really have to offer someone? What have I learned? What is my genuine experience of so much practice? How will this help people? Since this time of reevaluation, I rarely rely on doctrines or texts when I teach. I do my best to teach from experience. When I ask myself, have I made any progress on this journey of opening? I could honestly answer, yes, sort of. For sure, a little. But I realized I hadn't set a clear target for where I wanted to go. And so I'd been thrashing around in spiritual concepts. Hearing myself say that I wanted to get enlightened sounded hollow, pie in the sky. As the Dalai Lama said, if the teachings work, I should be feeling more joy and happiness. I'm not talking about a Pepsi permagrin or white teeth shiny happy, but dialed into a connected joy. The more connected we become, the more we experience the goodness and sanctity of life, relax, and maybe even smile. There are classic targets or North Stars that guide us in the Buddhist tradition. They're called the four immeasurables: the ability to love unconditionally, to experience unconditional compassion and empathy, to experience unconditional joy, and to experience the radiance of unconditional peace. These qualities are said to be immeasurable because there's no limit to the extent they can deepen and grow. You could whirl them all together and call them happiness. I realized I had breezed past the four immeasurables in my haste to enlightenment. I'll treat them as a practice later in this book. When I asked myself what I wanted from a spiritual journey, I knew I wanted to serve the world and hopefully leave it one drop of love better than I found it. I wanted to become lovely, to become love and to serve. I believe, deep down, we all want this in our lives. Although it might sound sappy, answering powerful, open-ended questions like, what do I want in my life? How do I wish to be remembered? And what really gives my life meaning? Clarified where I wanted to go. I had a compass. If I feel more joy, happiness, love, compassion, and peace, I'm on the right path. And if this somehow mysteriously helps someone else get happier, I must be on target. While this crisis of belief was going on, I also questioned and evaluated my spiritual community. Were they enjoying life more because of all of this mindfulness effort? When I surveyed the health of my spiritual community, I realized I didn't fit anymore. I was no longer comfortable with the program, so I left without a fuss. But eternally, it was hard to say adios to a community I devoted much of my life to. The decompression and guilt I felt during my detox from groupthink was difficult. I was never cut out to be a church guy, part of an organized religion. There's nothing really religious about being present or happy. I was with Groucho Marx and saying, I refuse to join any club that would have me as a member. Yet I believe it's almost essential to have some sort of community that supports you getting more joyous. These friends with whom you journey and to whom you expose yourself are in a special category. These are not philosophers only, but colleagues, friends who are putting in the time on a meditation cushion or sitting on a park bench, engaging along with you in the study of freedom. That community could be as small as a few friends, as long as they're the ones who help you stay honest on your journey. Your target, your goals for the journey towards happiness might make you uncomfortable sharing in public, so don't. But do continue to refine it in your own heart. If your target is happiness, it's an invasive concept, rather ill-defined. Happiness changes and deepens over time, approaching joy, belonging, service, radiance, and ultimately love, wisdom, and compassion. The thing is, that's our nature. 35 years into the spiritual journey, I set a goal. I admit I'm slow on the uptake, but still, I was pleased. I had an epiphany beyond concepts. I knew where I was going and what I wanted. Maybe you can cut the bungling time in half or even more as we get better as a culture cultivating joy. Don't take my word for it. Ask yourself the deep, open-ended questions. What am I here for? What's the gift of life about? Shoot your questions like arrows into space or like a pumice flake dropped into a crystalline pool of wisdom and wait for the answer. And when you've arrived at your target, it will no longer be, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm getting there fast.